Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is part 2 of the homeschooling and curriculum Q&A. I asked for all of your questions over on my Instagram. That is always down below. And I got a lot of questions, so I had to do it in 2 parts. So I'm gonna jump right into the questions. I wrote them down because being on my phone, going through my DMs was gonna be way too long. So I wrote them down. So let's just get right into it. Rachel, Humbled by Grace, asked, she told me about her boys and she asked, how do my boys handle all of the sunlight reading, meaning attention span? So when I read to my boys, I do allow them to do something quiet with their hands, whether that be quietly building Legos, drawing, coloring. They sometimes will like lay on the ground and pet the dog. They move from the couch to the ground under the table. You know, these are all things that I allow them to do. The only rule I have when we're reading is that they're not talking. So as long as they're being quiet, I allow them to move around, and I think that that really helps them. But the one thing I will say is my boys really do enjoy reading. So if your boys maybe don't love it so much, you might have to make some changes, do a little bit less, but they really like it unless I'm reading something they don't find interesting. And so for that, I will just make the choice. Do I really need them to know this information? Do I not? Can I restate it in a shorter way? You know, and I just try to keep it quick, but concise, and break it up if I need to break it up. So I don't require them to sit down for like 2 hours. It's mostly the longest at one time, maybe an hour. So, but when you're reading, that's kind of a long time. Homeschool Pink Tomatoes asked, do I have any homeschooling routines or like schedules that I had that I regret or stopped? That's a really good question. Yes, I wish I would have started homeschooling year-round from the start instead of following the 9-month school, public school calendar. I wish that when I first started my homeschooling journey that I wouldn't have tried so closely to replicate public school. I wish I would have just had more of a free-flowing schedule at that point. And yeah, that's all I can think of. Everything else I still do, but maybe in a slightly little bit of a different way. But those are the only ones that I wish I wouldn't have done or wish I would have stopped doing. Rianne Hartz asked if I think she can combine her girls or boys, I can't remember, I just wrote kids, who are 5 and 6 with one level of the good and the beautiful. Definitely. Yes. Unless you've got a super advanced 6-year-old and, you know, there's a big gap there. But if they're, you know, kind of close in a lot of ways, then absolutely you can combine with the good and the beautiful. Morgan 9073, would I say that the good and the beautiful is more classical or Charlotte Mason? Definitely Charlotte Mason, in my opinion, although I was told that I really don't know much about it. So take my opinion for what it's worth. I think it is. Mama Shafe asked, how do I organize my morning basket with 2 cores? I did a video on that. I'll link it for you. Casey Wilburn asked, what will I use from the good and the beautiful for next year? I want to answer your question, Casey, but I'm going to do a whole video on that, explaining my choices, what, why, how, when, who, where, all those things. So stay tuned to my channel. Make sure you're subscribed. Potter's Clay Homeschool asked a really good question. If I had to homeschool kindergarten and preschool again, what would I change? And I feel really proud to say this. I wouldn't change anything. I always took the approach with my little ones that like kindergarten and really even more so with preschool was like, it just isn't all that necessary. So I followed their lead when I did it. So if they expressed interest in wanting to write, then we would trace. But I've never made them sit down and do work. And I think setting up education for them from the start as being an enjoyable time versus a you must time really made huge improvements in the 2 kids that I homeschooled since kindergarten and preschool. With my older ones, they were in public school, and I was a very stressed kindergarten mom with one of them because one wasn't reading as soon as they should and maybe not as quickly or as interested, and it worried me so much. And I saw the effects of that in the public school system affect how that child perceived reading even as they came out of public school. So I knew when I homeschooled my younger 2 from the start that I did not want to set up any kind of stress when it came to learning. So I kept it so basic, so easy, free stuff, gluing, cutting, having fun, and then I really just matched the level that they expressed, and I think that that really, really helped. I do not think that there is any like magical kindergarten curriculum. I just wanted to focus on like letters, sounds, reading, and in whatever way that they wanted to do that, we did it. I read a ton of books to my kids at that age, and I think that that's really the most important thing. In kindergarten, I do add in like math and I keep it simple. Like, I don't buy a curriculum for those ages. I just use a few resources that I've shared, but I go at the pace that they were able to go, and I did not push them too much. So lots of playtime, lots of outside time, and all that. So the only thing I would have changed with that was with my older ones, but they were in public school, so I really didn't have much control over how they were learning. So I really brought that for my younger 2 and made a focus of setting up the foundations of learning well for them. And I would recommend that all homeschooling moms with little ones do the same. So I hope you guys enjoyed the second part to this Q&A. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. And if you want to see more Q&A type videos where you guys get to ask things and I answer them directly, please let me know. And if you're not following me on Instagram, you definitely want to do that. I share there almost daily versus on here just a couple times a week. So I will see you guys really soon in my next video. Bye, guys.